It's time to call a spade, man. For years, I've been questioning the integrity and the intentionality of our mainstream sports media with their deliberate exclusion of the greatness of Derrick Rose, Chi-Town's finest, Windy City assassin, Pooh Dini. Every time these lists come out, every time these all-star ballots are taken, you see loopholes and you see deliberate exclusions to Derrick Rose. Now, this video is in response to Bleacher Report 2 days ago, naming their best Chicago players, native Chicago players of all time. But before I get to that, we gotta talk the past. I'm building a case. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't understand a conspiracy is just a plan that we can't see that may entail malice or ill intent. When I'm theorizing, all I'm doing is formulating a conspiracy theory on the basis of evidence. Don't get this notion in your head that just because I don't have the verifiable, documented, sealed proof that Derrick Rose is being curved, that this notion is not something that we can point to. Conspiracy theory is just a term that idiots use. To be honest with you, to be the most forthright. If you want to be real, a conspiracy theorist does more research than a general surface theorist. Why? Because a conspiracy theorist takes the surface theory first, and then finds the alternative theory to formulate a conspiracy theory. So that's all I'm doing when it comes to this. So most of you will say, why would the media do that? They don't, what's the point? I can't tell you, but I'm showing you the trends. So the first trend is once after he gets injured, and there's the option for him to come back early, risk his long-term health for the short-term productivity for the Chicago Bulls. Once he did not do that, you saw the paradigm shift in his name. It wasn't the injury. After the injury, there were still hopes to praise him and keep him in regard as one of the faces of the NBA league. It wasn't because his talent just diminished. It was more so his state of mind changing for not being just this laborious livestock essentially for the NBA. He didn't choose to go back fast. He made statements saying things such as, I want to see my kids graduate. And media ripped his head off for it. I remember Charles Barkley deliberately saying, oh, he may not love the game, something to those extents, or he's not tough, or I wouldn't do this, this is not a good move. It was mass ridicule from Derrick Rose, pretty much saying he's not he doesn't have the mental fortitude or the toughness like prior athletes, just because he chose to preserve his health for the long run. So from that point on, this is the starter point. Before that, you see the media high praise, love for Derrick Rose, future legend, and we're praying on the return. I know you guys remember. After he got hurt, they didn't just down him. The return of Derrick Rose was coming. These things were propagated. And once he chose to not play early and take another 6 months off, you saw mass ridicule, and it never ascended from there. So you transition to his his Olympic play right after injury, his showcase, him taking the Bulls to the playoffs with Jimmy Butler, almost pushing the Heat to the limit. You don't see, oh, Derrick Rose is potentially back, 18-5 still type guy. You don't see this rhetoric of him being placed with the elitists. So pre-injury and even in the midst of injury, you have him in the highest of regard for point guards and guards and players, period. And then post-injury and post-statement saying, I want to see my kids graduate. I'm in it for the long run. Basketball ain't my entire life. They want you to think basketball is everything, little nigga. If you don't love basketball, basketball is life. Y'all remember that mantra? I used to live by it. Ball is life. But it's more to this shit than ball. These motherfuckers are humans. They gotta be able to watch their kids' graduation after. They don't want to have arthritis. I be seeing these niggas' fingers after the shit, and they be fucked up. So they do have to take care of themselves. And I think the media just didn't like the fact that Derrick Rose prioritized his mental health, his physical health, his spiritual health, his family's health over pumping out mass labor for that industry. So you have Bulls Rose playing well, but you see the Bulls franchise kind of giving up on him, giving Jimmy Butler the keys. Let's see how that worked. But giving Jimmy Butler the keys while Derrick Rose to me was still the mainstay. Then you have his Knicks run, and then you have a consensus of saying he's not worth it. A consensus around the league. His stock essentially dropped. Now, granted, his stock should have dropped on the basis of his knee injury. But to drop at a veteran's minimum wage, and the wage in which he got for the Minnesota Timberwolves, this is to me a deliberate statement made by the league that we shouldn't pay somebody like Derrick Rose, not just because of the injury, but because he made those statements. We want somebody ready to go for us, willing to die for us at all times. Not saying Rose isn't. When Rose puts on a jersey, it looks like he gives it his all. He plays immaculate. But to get $2 million on the Timberwolves and average 18-5 again, career high 50, it's like there's I can never guarantee and pinpoint a form of being blackballed, because the people doing the blackball are the people who wield all the power. It's like their whole goal is to mask the fact that we're blackballing the nigga. We'll never get that evidently. That's why even talking in the realm of being blackballed is always mythological, always allegedly, because we can't say it. When Michael Jordan was saying that the Bulls was trying to tank, you have the Bulls organization always going to cover that aspects up, but that don't mean that it wasn't true and it wasn't there. So you just have that the Timberwolves year where he scored 50, had a great year, was second in the West in All-Star votes. Second in the West in All-Star votes, and then you see this new system in place, a loophole to get niggas like Derrick Rose out, honestly. To get fans, this is no democracy in any of these institutions. Your vote doesn't matter as much as you think it does. Y'all and us voted Derrick Rose second in the West after Steph Curry. Harden was under Rose. And it's because a lot of people don't like how Harden's game is. That's just being honest. So the loophole comes, and now Derrick Rose don't make the All-Star game. We ain't seen Derrick Rose in the All-Star game in 5-6 years. Derrick Rose on the Knicks was probably the second or third best point guard in the East on the Knicks, but we still didn't see him in the All-Star game. Then you have these Bleacher Report lists that come out. You have these ESPN top 77 players lists that come out with Manu Ginobili on there averaging 13-5 for a franchise that's like the Patriots in a sense. We plug you in and now you'll flourish. Whereas Derrick Rose uplifted a franchise, got the MVP, was the Rookie of the Year, was the face of the NBA for 1 to 2 years, took his team to the playoffs, was always the best player on his team while taking his team to the playoffs, is an 18-6 guy night in and night out before or after the injury. And I'm like, what am I missing? Where all these players are just better than Derrick Rose. What am I watching where Manu Ginobili is a better basketball player than Derrick Rose? And others, many others. So you have the top 77s list. Then you have the top, I think, ESPN top 50 list, which got better, but still no Derrick Rose. And then you have this new list that come out. And I'm watching this, I'm looking at this list, and this list is just disgusting. This list is disgusting because best basketball players from Chicago. Soon as I hear from Chicago, I think Derrick Rose. Because now, when you say from Chicago, you got to exclude plays for Chicago. You got to exclude the MJs, the Pippins, because they not from Chicago. So when you think Chicago native, the first two names pop in my mind is D-Wade, Derrick Rose. Chicago, help me out. Windy City, help me out. I need to know the people's opinion on this because Bleacher Report is not the motherfucking people. When is Derrick Rose not a top 8? This is a top 8 list. And I'm going to give you the 8. Mark Aguirre, Terry Cummings, Tim Hardaway, dope. Maurice Cheeks, George Mikan, Anthony Davis, Isaiah Thomas, and Dwayne Wade. Now, in my opinion, Dwayne Wade, rightfully so, over Derrick Rose in a sense of his whole career accomplishments and what he's done for the NBA. That's somebody who I can see his body of work is as substantial and even more substantial in many places as Derrick Rose. So, fair. Wade, fair. Isaiah Thomas, fair. Probably the best guard, little small man guard in history, and one of the best guards, maybe best point guard in history in some people's eyes. So that's fair. Anthony Davis, that's fair. Elite superstar, Hall of Fame talent, skill, still doing this shit now. Numbers galore, offense and defense decline, been great since college. That's fair. However, I would make it a debate. I would make a debate if Derrick Rose or Anthony Davis was more impactful for Chicago, the city in itself. From high school, this was a protege who everybody knew was going to take Chicago and uplift him to the top. Derrick Rose put the city on his back. And after being from Chicago, I get drafted by Chicago Bulls. So now the city is really on my shoulders. And then I take the city and I catapult this team to where the team ain't been since Michael Jordan. After Michael Jordan era, Bulls dead. Ben Gordon era. Shout out to Ben Gordon, talent, but it was just Ben Gordon and Kurt Heinrich for a minute. After that era, Derrick Rose. And now the Bulls. So I can make an argument that Derrick Rose meant more to the city of Chicago than Anthony Davis. And I can make an argument, honestly, that he meant the most just based on how his run went about. Him actually repping that Chicago uniform. So I could make the case for Anthony Davis. And I will steeply say he's more of a Chicago legend than George Mikan. Maurice Cheeks. Shout out to Maurice Cheeks. But his name gets held in higher regard for me. I don't know. I'm a Cali guy, so I can't speak for Chicago. But when I hear Derrick Rose, I hear Chicago. I don't hear George Mikan and Maurice Cheeks when I think Chicago. Tim Hardaway, dope as fuck. I think Derrick Rose had a better career than Tim Hardaway. MVP, Rookie of the Year, 18-6. You got 17-8, so their stats are pretty much similar. Derrick Rose got a lot of big playoff moments. Tim Hardaway, big time players. They're comparable, but at the same time, Derrick Rose is not on the list. So I'm doing people who are on Tim Hardaway's number 6. I think he should be on the list, but I also think Derrick Rose should be. Then number 7, you got Terry Cummins. I ain't seen Terry Cummins play, so I can't speak on that, how much of a native and a legend he was to Chicago. I'm sure he was good. But damn, we just scoff at Derrick Rose for every list. He's an honorable mentions guy to these niggas. And this is why I did the video of, is Derrick Rose going to be in the Hall of Fame? Because I know the media. I know how they operate. He's not on he's not on the radar of Hall of Famer to them. They've already diminished his outlook as a what if situation, or what could have been, as if the nigga ain't doing right now. Why are we so focused on what could have been when we can watch what is? Derrick Rose last year was the best player on the Pistons last year. Blake battling injuries, Drummond not producing like we thought. Derrick Rose was the best player in 2020 on the Pistons last year. And the year before that, it was probably Towns and then him, even though Timberwolves themselves would tell you Derrick Rose was the spark plug and the go guy. So I just have to question the integrity of the media every time I see these lists. It gets more minimized to not just the league, not just the current players, but to the Chicago natives. And Derrick Rose can't make the list for Chicago natives? Come on, is he being blackballed? Is he being blackballed in a sense, not that he can't play, but his name and his legacy and his legend and who Derrick Rose is and will be to the game, is that being held in a certain regard? Is that not being praised? Are we not giving Derrick Rose his flowers right now? Are we going to wait to give a nigga they flower? I'm not. Derrick Rose is a Hall of Famer to me. Fuck what y'all niggas talking about. Derrick Rose is better than Manu Ginobili to me. Fuck what y'all niggas talking about. Derrick Rose is a top 50 player in history. Fuck what y'all niggas talking about. And I hope in 5 to 10 years niggas see this video and realize some motherfuckers had the keen eye and didn't go with the narrative and was ahead of their time with what they were seeing with Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose never fell completely off. He got worse from the injury. Who doesn't? Except Adrian Peterson. That's probably the only nigga who got better after the injury. But he still was an elitist guard post-injury. Look up his post-injury highlights in Chicago, in Minnesota, in Detroit. And that's it, man. Hold Derrick Rose up. Cause they not. I'ma hold my guy up. It's your boy Dame, man. Peace. Let me know your thoughts, your comment. Subscribe to Dame's World. We in here. Like, share, get it through the algorithms. We only talk real shit. We only talk what the media shine. It's your boy Dame.